Hi, I'm Dylighted, and today I'm going to be doing a dual commentary with the USA National Champion. This is going to be a continuation of going undercover in a 300-person Catan tournament. Let's see how my thought process and the USA National Champion thought processes are similar and different. Alright Ian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to us?
Thanks Dylan, and howdy everyone. My name is Ian Demsky, I'm from the Boston area, and I love Catan. I've always loved all kinds of games, but nothing comes close to Catan's unique mix of skill, luck, and especially social interaction. The way you interact with opponents is so interesting and a big part of what makes it such an awesome game. I've been playing since not long after the game first came out in the late 1990s, when a good friend of mine, shout out to Chris Morley, insisted it's a game we had to play. I quickly got hooked, and just last year, I was fortunate enough to go on a strong run and win the US Championship.
And you have 10 years of a tournament experience, right?
I do. I've been playing mostly, it started at a local game convention called TotalCon in New England. I was surprised when I heard they actually had a competitive Catan tournament. I used to play it just for fun. Showed up and got hooked on competing.
And how many US Nationals have you been to?
I've been 3 times. I've been to the US Nationals. The first 2 times I made it to the semifinals and lost. It definitely misplayed. It wasn't, I got super unlucky, but each time I learned from what happened. And the third time I got there.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm super excited to be doing this commentary with you, Ian. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right, so this is the board. Can you set the stage for, this is round 3 of your...
Yes, this is...
Colonist.io.
Yeah, this is the round 3 of my Colonist.io tournament where I'm going undercover with the random name. Actually, Black right here is one of my viewers, and because I use this anonymous name, and Sisely is the name of like a makeup company, they didn't suspect me at all, so I was in the clear. But afterwards, Black was like, I knew that was you since you asked to voice chat. You're suspicious. So I'm the 3rd position right here. Ian, what would you take and why?
So the first pick was pretty obvious. It kind of cornered the only good and you get good wheat to go with it. Obviously, a 12 isn't ideal, but given the scarcity, I think that was a great pick. 3-1 port should be all yours. The second pick, let's see. So it's interesting. I think wheat is pretty limited here, and I think that was part of the thought process. It's going to be tough to get good wheat and a good spot. The only other decent wheat is the 5 wheat, but that's with only 9 sheep, which is okay, but not great, especially when there's limited ore. On the other hand, the 2 ore is pretty thin and there is a fair bit of wood. So I don't love the second choice necessarily. I just think wood's kind of common. I guess you had to get some wheat, but the difference between the 4 wheat and like a 3 or an 11, you'll probably get one of those on the way back. So it's not that big. So I don't know if I would have taken that second, unless the plan is to do an ore port game. But anyway, so what does that leave? I like to look at ports actually a lot. I often consider ports a lot in the early game, especially when you're playing with higher level players, because a lot of these games end up kind of a grind fest as you get later on, and people don't want to trade, right? They know you need something that you don't have. So they don't trade with you. And when you don't have a port, you can really be in trouble. A lot of times when you see somebody lose, it's because they don't have any ports and they're sitting there with, 3 wheat and 3 sheep and 3 wood in their hand. Like, how often do you see that? And they're just throwing up their hands and dropping 7 over and over. Yeah.
So in this spot as 3rd position, what would you take?
Yeah, sorry. Now get to your actual question.
That's okay. No. That was a great analysis. I love it.
So, again, we're looking at scarcity here. Brick and ore are both kind of scarce. I don't know. I know obviously the prevailing thought is ore, wheat, sheep. In this spot, if you don't take the 5-9, the wheat, sheep, you're probably going to get locked out of wheat. I mean, you're not going to want to go in a 4-4. And the 5 is pretty solid. You can head towards the wood port. I mean, nobody's probably gonna go on, well, I don't know, maybe, I don't know who wants like 8-9 sheep, unless somebody could do that and go for the all like sheep port strategy, but it's not like the 5 wheat brick port is likely to help. I know you're a big proponent of building towards the shore, so I guess it'd be 50-50 as to where I go with this one. The thing is, when you head to 8-9, it actually motivates people to block you, so I'd probably build towards the shore. Yep, yeah, it seems like the right choice there.
What my thought process right here is, I thought that there's a strong chance I'm going to be getting near one of the bricks at least. Since you know that the 6 brick is not going to be locked for sure. So when it comes back to me, I at least gonna I have the option to take the brick port, or to take the strong brick with the brick port, which is why I decided to point towards a coast rather than the 8-9. Since the 8-9 is it is a really strong spot for sure. Don't get me wrong, and there is a 5 wood to back it up, but I just thought it would be a little bit safer to point towards the coast over here. In addition to that, I also thought that I was secretly thinking about plowing orange all the way to the 3-1 port on the 6-4 over there. As since I'm gonna be probably starting out with the free road, and I'm gonna have strong wood and brick.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good point. I mean, this fourth player probably going to go on one of the brickwood spots since they're not going to get good or wheat sheep. So that should leave you, the 3-4-6 or the 5-6, 2-12, whichever.
Yeah.
Unless, I don't know, I wouldn't put it past you to consider the 6 or 10 sheep with your second spot, because I know how much you love the OWS, but...
yeah. So as fourth right here, what would you try taking? Since this is a pretty difficult spot.
It is, because you're going to have... Your options are pretty limited. I do think the potential to build a lot of roads will at least let you expand. Looks like they're trying to cash in on the limited ore and wheat. And let's see. And yeah, I mean, that's not bad. You take that with some of the brick in the middle, maybe even the 11 wheat to go with it, like 3-6-11 or 3-6-4. You won't have sheep though, but yeah. No, I can see that. You got really good opportunities to expand on the bottom of the map there. You got a 3-1 port to yourself. I mean, your overall numbers aren't great. No, that's fine. So
right now it rotates back to me as third position. So what would you take?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one of the 5-6s is going to be your pick. Starting with the road, you have the wheat and the sheep. The interesting question is which one and where do you go? I don't know if you would do like 4-9 or 3-9-11. I just think given that your proximity to the brick port, those aren't going to do as much for you. The thing about 2-5-6 is, so I guess you have to think about where the other two people are going to go, right? Like, can you make it out to the 8-10? It's a bit of a stretch, but there aren't going to be a lot of roads out there. On the other hand, if you start on the 5-6-12, can you make it to the 6-10, right? Which is obviously a tremendous spot if you can get there.
Yeah.
So let's see. So
do you have any considerations placing just on the 6-10?
It is feasible. Actually, I don't think it's a terrible idea. The main problem I have with it is it just feels like the robber is going to bounce back and forth from 5 to 6 anytime black and red roll 7s. But then again, you guys should be able to buy cards and get control. It does also mean you have almost nowhere to go, and you'll even have the resources to get there. So I think I prefer the flexibility of the 5-6 because I think you'll be able to expand to one of those edge spots.
So which 5-6 would you take and why?
Right, yeah, so I kind of want to think about what the other two players are going to do, of course, right? So right. Red went on the 2-4-8 and goes after you. I think they've got to be interested in some brick if they're going to go on the 8 wood, unless they want to do double sheep wood port, but that doesn't seem very good. So I could see them going on 3-8-11 or something like that. Maybe they're going to try to expand to the wood port. And then orange, who started with or wheat, they have some options. Certainly they'd like some sheep for a card. I don't know what's going to be available, though. I don't think they want to go on 8 sheep, 9 sheep. I don't know. That's a really tough question. I don't know but I don't think the first player is going to go on 6 or 10 sheep. So I think 5-6-12 heading up. I know you lose out on an initial ore, and 2 ore is a nice little bonus now and then. But I do think that 6 or 10 sheep is going to be available for you to get to. Interesting.
Yeah, I like that thought process a lot, actually. So what I opted right here was, since I know you think that I thought that you thought I was just gonna take the 6-10 since you think that I'm a super big fan of Orreat Sheep. In this spot, I think Orreat Sheep wins games, but I also think there's trap Orreat Sheep setups, and this is definitely one of those trap setups right here. The reason why I think it's a trap setup is because there's a strong chance if I don't take any of the wood bricks right here. Let's say if I just take the 6-10, I leave open the 3-11-8, and I also leave open the 5-6-12 or 5-6-2. And the thing is, if I go on the 610, I'm probably going to get free roaded and chopped off to the 3-1 port. Then I'm forced to play an or wheat sheep game with no 3-1 port and too much excess sheep and wheats with low sources of ore. And that's sort of like a recipe for disaster right there. Yeah. Just playing a really, really slow game. So I thought the 610 was actually like a really big trap. I know some of my viewers would probably take that 610 spot right there because they see all my games playing or wheat sheep. But that's just not a strong representation of necessarily of what a strong. It's just not a good setup, essentially. Mm-hmm. So what I ended up taking right here was what I took was the 2-5-6, and I took that because of I start off with the ore, but not only that is I create myself space on the board to expand to, and I thought that was really, really important, especially as a wood brick player. I always like to make sure my third and fourth settlement spots is really, really strong as a wood brick player, as that compensates for the lack of cities that I'm going to be able to get. Which is why I placed on the 2-5-6, which creates 2 more spots, which is the 10, 12, 5, and the 6, 11, 12 right there. And I predicted that both of those spots would probably be open, or at least one of those spots would have to be open at least.
No, you're right. That is a great thought. I wasn't even thinking as much of that, but if you can double up on the 6 brick and get the brick port, then that's really strong. And people who just fill in a lot of the board, it just really does help. I know you're like, oh, you have like 2, 11, 12, but those really do add up. And that's an interesting 4th placement right there. I guess it makes sense given the options that were available, but I'll be curious to see how they can make that work. It's good for Orange that he's the only one on the 6 ore, so maybe it's a little less likely to be blocked off the bat. And wheat being a rare resource, if you can get that first expansion down, that'll put him in a good spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I think the 4-9 does make sense. But in Orange's position, I probably would not go to the ore port. I think I would just go to the 3-1 port in that spot, probably.
Yeah.
I think like it's a little bit too risky to race with red, as red you could almost just hold the free road and like threaten Orange for that spot. But red decides to concede the race and go towards the wood port. Go ahead.
I think the fair thought for Orange though is, again, wheat is pretty rare, and we all know that wheat is no wheat equals defeat. So if he gets on that spot and we roll, a 4 here and there, I think he should be able to help trade that wheat in order to get the road settlement on the 3-1. And so I think wheat has extra value on this board. So getting the 3-1 obviously is very good. Don't get me wrong. But he is in a bit of a race situation with.
Not anymore.
I don't know that red wants a 4 wheat ore port.
So now in my spot, where do you point your road, or where do you put your road?
All right, so we rolled a 6 there. So you've got 2 roads already. I can see. Yeah, where do you want to expand first? If you can grab the 5 wood 10 sheep, then you can almost guarantee you'll get to the 6 ore, which is still like your best possible.
Yes, I was definitely looking at that 6-10 ore. I was considering that spot because of that too.
The biggest risk, of course, is black has plenty of wooden brick and hasn't committed yet. So it's just a little risky that he would cut you off to the 5, 10, 12. Yeah.
And actually, I think this is a mistake on my end if I don't try offering the ore for sheep trade right here to get the road and settlement. Because the 5, 10, 12, it leads to the 6, 10, which is very, very essential for me to. It's very essential for me to be able to get that spot, as it strengthens my game a lot more.
Now, I know. Would you have considered building 2 roads, one of them towards black, just to lock in that spot? I know, like, the thought of wasting a road is. I rarely see people build a bad road just to protect their spot, but I do think sometimes they make a mistake in not doing that. It's probably too early to do that here, but would you consider that?
I would consider that if that spot was more valuable to me. But in this spot, I think what happened was I was supposed to place a road, but then like I timed out. So then this glitch happens right here. And I was in the middle of placing a road, so it just shows up for the rest of the orbit.
Yeah, and there you go. It looks like he committed the other way anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I would have done it in that spot, but sometimes I do at least take it under consideration.
Yeah.
I definitely have watched plenty of games where people should have built that extra road, especially when you're in like the mid to late game and you just really need to protect something, and you don't, and you're doing well. And then the other players go, look, I have to block this guy and you have to help me. And everybody conspires and they do that. They plow you, right? You don't want to let yourself get plowed when you could have just thrown away that extra wooden brick when you have lots of income anyways.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There's some spots that are just totally worth protecting that are very, very essential to your game. What a lot of other players have been noticing doing that I think is really strong is that they'll make a threat saying like, "Listen, I have a road and a settlement, and unless you don't give me a trade right now, I'm going to take your spot." And if that spot is like a lifeline, then they can force out like a 3-for-1 or 4-for-1 trade, which is almost crazy just to secure that spot with the promise that, all right, like if you do this trade, then I won't cut you off, which is really, really interesting but aggressive.
Can you remind me? Was this game how was there any voice? There was
no voice chat. Yeah, there's no voice chat.
Okay, so that's why I can see some people typing in the chat up there.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do think that is an unfortunate limitation. I mean, look, yeah, you have to do something, and the site certainly works well, but when you have limited clock on your turn and you have a chat window, I almost kind of wish that for this tournament they would turn off the time.
Yes, I wish that too.
For those that have watched the first 2 rounds of your tournament, you'll see a number of clock ran out issues in the games, and nobody really wants that.
Yeah, and that happens to me several times again.
So red grabs the 8 sheep wood port. It's interesting. So obviously it's strong in that he's got this wood, and now he might become somewhat of an kind of a or we cheap player all of a sudden with the extra wood. Although it does, just add a bunch of extra sheep to your hand that you can't use, and it turns your wood into like half a resource. So it's good, but it's not great.
Yeah. So right now I have road and settlement in hand. What would you try and do?
Yeah, I know. Your thoughts of getting to the brickport and doubling up on the 6 brick are pretty strong. It is putting yourself out there to try to go to the 6-10, because again, black does loom like they could go 2 roads and a settlement and get there. So it's kind of a tough call here. I do like the potential to connect in the long run, and like you said, you might even be able to just run around, cut off orange to the 3-1. So yeah, 6-11-12 is a pretty reasonable option. It'll give you a good chance to connect. You don't need the extra 10 sheep, and you do eventually have that port coming in. So
I do think there is a lot of strong merit to build on the 5-10-12 though, as that's sort of like a limited edition spot, since after black builds and that 3-10, you know that they're going to do road settlement to the 5-10-12, and that sort of gets me in a stronger spot, a stronger position to take the 6-10, which is vital to my game. But I decided to opt towards the 6-11-12 because just more unblockable wheat and sheep, and while the brick does get blocked, it does set me up for the brick port right there to manage a decent game. Also, I want to go quickly back real quick. On my last turn, not the one where I just do road and settlement, but the turn before that, I think I made a mistake. I should have tried trading ore for sheep to try to get road settlement, and then I could be able to do road settlement freely without having to commit just committing an empty road. So I could have been able to potentially get a settlement, which is massive. So I missed that trade opportunity, which is pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that does happen in some because of the time limits on turns. Like you're really kind of rushed. I remember I was playing. I mentioned I played in a number of these the local tournaments in New England, and I was in a Settlers Finals once, and the tournament director decided that just for this year he would put a shot clock on your initial settlement placements, and it wasn't a very long shot clock, and all the players really disliked it. And thankfully that's never been a thing since. I mean, if you're committing to play a game of Settlers, you got to give people the time they need to play settlements. There's a lot to play out there, unless you have a train to catch. I do think it's worth giving people the time.
I totally agree. Especially, man, I think I'd die in that situation with just only having 1 minute to place or something. So
this is you trying to propose some trades here? Yeah, obviously you've got an extra glut of brick, and brick sheep, or not a great spot to be in. Thankfully, it looks like somebody's willing to work with you.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to be able to get a road right here. But where would you build the road?
Yeah, it's interesting. So let's see. Orange does have 9 cards in hand, and I know you just traded them a wood. I don't know. Sorry, while we were talking, I haven't been tracking dice rolls. I don't know if I'd be afraid of getting cut off to the brick port. I mean, that would be my priority, but I'd want to know that Orange wasn't going to go there just for the sake of plowing you. I mean, it's probably a weaker choice for Orange than 6 or 3-1, especially when they're also going to go on Orport.
Yeah, I was definitely afraid that I'd get cut off, but if you look at Orange's spot, it's also not super reasonable that they do go on the brick port. I think a better spot for them would just be going on the wood port, or going on the 3-1 port instead. Well, first,
because getting that 5 wheat is not great for Orange. I mean, they're going to have extra wheat. I mean, yes, they can trade it, so there is that. But it does turn it also into a very popular robber spot. So.
Well, first they build their settlement on the 4 wheat spot, I think. I also think that Black, since they're committed their road to the 310, that in theory the 5, 10, 12 is safe. And if you track the cards, I forgot the cards now, but I remember back in this game that I didn't think that there's a reasonable shot that Black could be able to get on the 5, 10, 12 with the amount of cards inside their hand, since they only had one dice roll since they go immediately after me. So I thought that first the odds that they are able to cut me off towards the 5, 10, 12 just too low. And I really like the idea of being able to double up on my wood, along with, since I'm already doubled up on my brick, and I'm going to be getting a more unblockable sheep. So I really like that idea.
It's an interesting that bummer that Black decided to head straight for 6-10, maybe not even stopping at 10-3 yet. That is obviously a crucial spot for one of you guys to get to. Yeah.
I'd also like to note, I decided to discard the way I discarded as a single 5 gets me my settlement, and I thought I'd keep an extra brick since the brick would probably be blocked, which it did.
Right, that's smart.
I also just thought that the sheep is in more supply compared to it's just there's a lot more there's sheep is a lot more easily tradable in my position, and the sheep just doesn't really get blocked that often. The 9 sheep never gets blocked, nor does the 12, so I can just afford to discard all the sheep except for 1.
Yeah, and I know I talk about the image of where the robber is going to go a lot, but if you do get on the 5 wheat brick port, it just makes you an obvious top threat right now, because you have the 6 ore, you have the brick port, and the robber at that point is definitely going to bounce back from 5 to 6 for a while, especially because it's 2 different people on the spot. So, the 5-10 does give you a fair bit of extra income, but it's not. I don't think it increases your threat level as much as getting the brick port online.
Yeah. Right here, I was saying Black can bring under 7 cards, but I was getting confused. it's actually Orange who has more than 8 cards, who has 8 or 7 or more cards. So I was directing this trade towards Black. I think I was trying to track their cards, or maybe it was directed towards Orange. But I said that inside the chat it was directed towards Black. But yeah, I was trying to get 3 ores, but it's quickly rejected. I think I was grasping at straws at that moment.
Yes, honestly, when I watch you play, sometimes I think you grasp at straws a little too much, because you make these just kind of crazy offers and comments, and sometimes other people get tired of hearing it. So I think you got to be careful with doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I learned a big lesson from me of you always have to start scanning the table before you try table talking, as it's really important to it's really important just to be able to know exactly how the table is feeling about the table talk. Will they get annoyed? Will they hold a grudge if you do this? And if they don't, or if they're all pretty competitive players, or they're all willing to listen to logic, then you can just start spitting off the table talk, which is something I noticed you do, and you're really, really strong at.
Yeah, well, I think when it comes to Settlers or any game, the thing that I do is I'm almost playing the game for all 4 people at once, and it does that definitely ventures into the realm of skill versus just something that's easy to do. But you want to really have a sense of, for every player, what is their current motivation, what are they trying to do, and that goes for the game points themselves, but as we were just talking about, what kind of a person they are. I mean, Settlers in person is so different from these electronic chat only, because you can really read people's body language. You can I love playing Settlers with new people I've never met before, and I genuinely enjoy meeting them and getting to know them and playing the game with them. And yes, we're competing where you have to beat each other, but it doesn't mean you can't have fun doing it.
I love going to tournaments. So I'm still patiently waiting for the 5s to hit. I'm getting sort of nervous that Black still might try and road settlement me, but they still have committed their road to the 6-10, so it makes me a little bit more comfortable. So who do you think is in the best contention to win at the moment, and why?
Yeah, that is a good question. Orange is still in a sneaky, like, solid position, with still having the only ore, the strongest wheat, and those are two of the rarest resources.
Would you take this trade right here, by the way? A brick for 2 sheep?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I know some people think 2 for 1 is always good, but it feels like you're helping the other person out more than you're helping yourself. I mean, you need a 5. You need 2 things. You don't need, 4 sheep that you can 4 to 1. So a wheat for 2 sheep is definitely something to take under consideration.
All right, I think it was the... Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. He want.
So yeah, I said no to this trade, but I was considering it. The reason why I considered it was because it offered me 5 sheep in hand. And what I saw was basically it opens up the opportunity for me to roll a... I was trying to see if I rolled... since if I had 5 sheep, I have 1 sheep for 4 for 1, and then I have 4 sheep for whatever card. Then I'm like, okay, so now if I roll a wheat or if I roll a wood, then I can do it. Then it'll be useful. But then I realized, wait, that's sort of useless because the 5s will get me that anyways, which is ultimately led to my decision of why that I wouldn't do that trade. And you're right, that trade probably helps red a lot more than it helps me too.
Yeah, I've played a number of games where people, I don't know if I go far as to say to criticize, but they always say they're surprised at how reticent I am to make trades. And it's kind of the opposite. It's just, I don't take trades just because I can. Like, I'll rarely take a trade to add a resource I need in my hand when I can't use it right away. Because you're giving the other person such an instant advantage, right? I mean, if you've played Settlers, you know the feeling of offering a trade, and when somebody says yes, that like relief, especially if you're sitting there with one of those 8 resource hands where you can't do anything otherwise. And I like, no offense, but I want you to feel that tension. I want you to be sitting there with 3 sheep, 3 brick, and 2 wheat, and not be able to do something. And if I get a marginal gain and I let you buy a dev card, it's huge for you. And for me, it's kind of just, okay. And
yeah,
I realized that, we both benefited, but I don't like to give those edges to other players.
Well, first of all, what'd you do in my spot if you don't get any trades? Do you agree with this move 4 for 1 for an order?
So you're sitting there with, I don't know. I've heard, what is it? It's 50-50 that you roll a 7 in orbit, but you were only at 6 cards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like somebody's sitting on a mono.
I definitely could have been a lot more patient right there.
Yeah, but there's the 5, so now you don't have a sheep, ironically. Yeah. So I think for that reason, I probably would have just sat and been sad about it.
I see. So you would have held in that spot?
Yeah, I think I would have held in that spot. Wouldn't have been happy about it, but that's sort of like what I was saying. So you've added an ore to your hand that you can't use. And now somebody might rob you and be like, oh, well, he does have an ore in his hand, so let me go after that since ore is a rare resource. So when you add something to your hand and people know about it, and then it's just sitting there, it makes not as much a fan of that sort of thing. Yeah.
I totally get what you mean. And especially since if a 7 did roll, then like I'll just be able to dump all that useless sheep anyways. So I agree with you that that move right there was sort of quite impatient.
So somehow we got sidetracked, but you were asking about who's in the best spot in the game right now. I never really answered that. I'm still not in love with red. Red is just too 8 dependent. And even on an 8, it's not like they get that much. So, I mean, other than that, it's like some random 2, 3, 4, 11. So it's just hard to like build up something in that spot. For the record, by the way, I have no idea who wins this game. This is all, I'm learning as I see. So if red ends up coming back and winning, you can laugh later. Sometimes that happens though. The person who's not a threat early, right? I do like your position a lot. I do think getting to that brick port will be important. But if you can, and you have opportunity for road, you have plenty of expansions. Like you said, that was the advantage of going on the 2-5-6 is you gave yourself a lot of room. And here we go. It's a nice settlement.
Yeah, red gave me a trade last turn that allowed me, and I was able to counteroffer for 2 sheep. And I knew they had it because 8's hit and they get 2 sheep. So I was able to counteroffer a brick to get the 2 sheep, which completed my settlement, which is really nice. Would you buy a dev card right here?
And that's the thing about Red's hand. Would you buy a dev card? It's pretty tempting. I think I probably would. Again, like you're not about to drop a city anytime soon. So what are you doing with that ore, right? I think I would buy a dev card.
I think I would. I hope I buy a dev card here too. I think it's the right play.
But just going back to red there, right? So we rolled red's greatest number, and they had to give away a 2-for-1 just so they could drop a road, and it gave you a settlement. So I don't like what red chose to do there, but that's also kind of a product of where they were. It didn't seem like red's hand was overflowing either. So
yeah, during that trade, like I knew red can give a 2-for-1. But I also knew that if red was stingy and say like, no, I'm only going to take a 1-for-1, I'll totally still take that 1-for-1 in my spot, since it gives me a settlement. I was just trying to get greedy and see what I could get and ask for 2 sheep.
Yeah.
And I got it. So it was a worth it try.
Mm-hmm.
I think I almost have to buy a dev card in this spot as now like my wood and bricks are even bigger blocking spots. It just looks really juicy.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to hold for the city right here, oh, please buy a dev card. And if I'm trying to hold for the city right here, like, if I'm trying to hold for the city, like, what am I holding for? I'm holding for 3 2s or 2 more 2s and a 5. That's like very, very unreasonable. I just have to buy the dev card.
Mm-hmm. And you cross your fingers there. If you had nailed a road building out of nowhere, that would have been like a game changing card, right? Unfortunately, you didn't. So if black gets there, I guess we have a little ways to go. Then that is very a very strong spot, right? Then it's 3-to-1 port. It's plenty of ore, limited wheat, but at least there's a 3-to-1 port. In fact, very little wheat. But all it takes is a 3 to just drop a city.
Yeah, I think in black spot, actually, and I'm looking at their position now. I really don't like going a game with just 2 points of wheat. Instead, I think in black spot, I'd probably want to put their settlement on the 6-3-11 compared to the 6-4-3, as I really like that
right.
2 points of unblockable wheat, as it just secures you super strong wheat income that never gets blocked, and it subtly kills my 6-11-12 spot too. In addition to that, you also you still have a 1-to-1 wood brick ratio, which is totally fine. You still get your free road to the 3-1 port. So that's why I think in black spot, I'd probably just go in the 6-3-11.
Yeah, I remember suggesting that like early on, going on the 3-6-11 as opposed to the 3-6-4 for the same reason. I think that would have been a much better choice. And here, so big move by Orange, dropping the city. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Orange has almost no sheep, which is interesting. So I think Orange is really going to be hoping that Red is a good trade partner, or you. Because it's definitely going to want to get some dev cards going, but they do have the ore port as well. But that 6 ore is looking like a mighty popular robber spot as the game progresses.
For sure.
So if you use a knight, I'm curious if you choose to go on the 6 ore or if you choose to put it elsewhere.
So where would you put it if it was you?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably 6 ore. I was just kind of thinking, off the top of my head, I guess I don't see anything else that makes more sense than that. I mean, 4 wheat doesn't even really stop the wheat of Orange. If your goal is to stop black from getting that settlement down, I could see you trying to take from black. But in terms of just impact, I still think the 6 ore is a way to go.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm hovering over the 3 wheat. I really hope I don't block that. Oh no, I did block that. I guess my reasoning for blocking the 3 wheat was probably because I'm on all the wheat, and well, it's still not a good argument since I was just trying to. I think my thought. Okay, no, I remember my thought process. It was because I don't think a 3 hit in a while, and I thought that was the one thing that black needed to build on the 6-10. And I had the thought in the back of my head that I really want that 6-10. So if I can lock down that 3 wheat, I can cut them off to the 6-10. I think that's my thought process.
You've heard the term gambler's fallacy, right?
But no, I think the safer play, the more consistent play, is probably just to block the 6 ore.
Like for you to say, well, 3 hadn't hit in a while, that's not a reason to block the 3.
That's
I mean, I guess it means he definitely doesn't.
Yeah, that's not the point. Not as in like the 3 hasn't hit in a while. It gotta show up soon, right? But no, I just wanted to block the wheat.
It should be mentioned, by the way, that a 12 hit, which does almost nothing for you, but is huge for Orange because the potential to snag a couple dev cards is a really big deal. So 12 is a big roll for Orange.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, Red is going to play a good under the radar game here for sure. I mean, because the 3 other players are looking stronger. I don't think there's any question, but nobody's going to mess with Red. And you see a lot of times when nobody messes. I mean, if Red can also get to the 8 wood 10 ore, and then all of a sudden that 8 wood port and the triple 8 wood, I guess I'm saying I wouldn't count them out of the game it's way too early for that, even though I think at the moment they're definitely behind.
Yeah. But, you know, I think you're right. Wow, that was another mistake. I probably shouldn't have blocked the 3 wheat. Definitely should have blocked the 6 ore in that spot. So I regret that.
Of course, you say orange is winning for sure. That's your job. Pump up the person in first place.
I mean, there, I just got the 2 sheep and they have a dev card setup.
Yeah.
I think the really strong spot about orange is the fact that since he has all the ore and wheat, it's like, and he doesn't have sheep, that's his weakness. But the thing is, if you just looked at if orange just tracks people's cards, they're gonna be able to see that like a lot of the time my hand and red's hand, it's gonna be filled with sheep. And so as long as orange keeps plucking from me, they're still gonna be able to buy they're gonna be able to cycle out knights, because as soon as they assuming they have an excess of ore wheat, as soon as they play a knight card, I'm going to have an excess of sheep. They're going to be able to take it, most likely get a sheep, and then buy another dev card, or most likely a knight, and then be able to complete that cycle over and over again.
And one thing we talked about early on is the person who has no ports, and you are clearly suffering from that right now. I mean, you have no ports yet. You have a fair bit of income, but you're definitely just hoping for a good sequence of rolls. I mean, a 5 and a 6, and you've got road settlement, which is great. So hopefully that hits. But until it does, you know, all the resources you're picking up, it's hard to do anything with. Like you can see, it's just sheep after sheep.
Yeah. You're totally right.
And let's not forget that orange has the ore port. So even though they have limited access to sheep, you know, if you roll 2 6s and a 5, that's a dev card. And of course, it's also a city.
Yeah, for sure. Also,
it'll be interesting to see what orange does next. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, I think another reason why I was really puzzled by me blocking the 3 wheat. But I think another reason was because black, I think, is the person who's racing me for longest road, or has any shot at racing me for longest road. And I like to I really like to block the other person who's racing for my opposite win condition right here, which is why I think there's another reason why I blocked black, because if I can take the 6-10, then I become an Orbit Sheep player. I can also have a strong shot at road, and I can take black out of the game almost, which is why I wanted at 6-10. But I think the odds I get that are really low.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hit a lot of, and the problem is it's so hard for you to save up for it too. Yeah, you know, it's because you don't want to build the 2 roads and have them wasted. Yeah. And black gets, you know, other than the wheat, but he has a 3-1 port. He gets plenty of everything. So I think a sneaky smart move, if you can pull it off for black, would be to build road settlement just to plow orange, because if he builds to the 3-1 and you build on the brick port, all of a sudden orange's expansions get, you know, that much harder and like not as useful.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's actually like very imperative that you try to plow orange. I was really in this live commentary, since I was commentating this live by myself, I was like really sad that that orange put that road down. Because now they're able to, I can't plow orange anymore, and that also gets rid of my ore source, unless I want to build 3 roads back to the 8-10, which is very, very expensive.
Right. Now we'll see how the game goes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I could see if you get 1 road building that you could easily like just cut the board in half, go over to the 8-10, and there's your longest road and your late game. So I think a road building would be, well, it's obviously always really good for anybody, but you know, if you could run out there. If I'm red, the next thing I'm doing is cutting off to the 8-10 just so nobody else gets out that way. Just 2 roads just to prevent you from cutting through.
Yeah. Also think that something that people don't think enough about, especially when playing longest road, is the space that you need to fight longest road. I remember another reason why I placed on the 2-5-6 was because I chop black off from being able to connect, while I give myself a lot of options to be able to connect my own settlements. So I feel it's like useful, I guess, if that makes sense at all.
Well, I can't help but wonder what would have happened if you went on 5-6-12 and started up and then built your first road towards the 6-10.
Yeah. And if I was able to get that, then that would totally change the game too. I agree with that.
Because you've achieved your goal by placing your first settlement, and yet it still has you in a spot where you're kind of cramped and you still have no ports. But we'll see. We'll see when you get your brick port online. I don't even know who wins, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
For sure. Also, I have a ulterior motive inside this game. So it is a 300-person tournament, and to get the top 16 scores in a 300-person tournament, you have to have a high point total. So if I can make sure I get myself to 8 points, then I'm edging near the top 16 score, since I'm going to be 2 wins with 8 points. But so if I can make sure to get myself to 2 win 9 points, then that's amazing. Or 2 win 8 points, then I still get myself a shot at making the top 16 for semifinals. As ultimately that's my goal right here. It's to try and make it the top 16. And I don't.
Right. It's really smart you said that, because there's I've certainly, very different from playing Settlers as a home game is when you're in these tournaments, and there are games I've definitely made plays where I'm like, look, I just want to try and get, I know this isn't a winning move, but this will kind of lock up 8 points, and I know with 8 points I'll make the top 16.
Yeah, for sure. Do you agree with my move to buy a knight right there? So it's a 4-for-1 and then buy a knight. What would you have done instead?
Yeah, you don't really have many other good options, again, although I feel like getting your brickport online is so important. I think I would have been tempted to just drop I don't know. You're still really far from building that road settlement is the problem. I would have been tempted to just build the port for a brick and head to the brickport.
Yeah.
I just think you need that velocity. You need, like, once you get that settlement there, because then you're going to be at 5 settlements. You need the city, right? So every time you just buy a knight, it's going to be that much longer before you can get your first
That
city.
makes sense. The reason why I bought a dev card in that spot was, I really hate 4-for-1ing for like a resource that I have. Like, it feels, in my opinion, it feels awful to 4-for-1 for like the bricks. When I'm on like 10 points, or when I'm like on the 6th brick, it feels awful. But you're right, getting to the brickport is definitely a lot. But I decided to 4-for-1 for an ore in that spot. Because I also thought like with another 5 and 6, and I could probably trade for sheep, then that gets me on the brickport, and this sets me up sort of to get on the brickport. I guess if that sort of makes sense.
It is crucial for you that the robber stays on the 6th.
Yes, that's another.
So while we're talking, Black has dropped a settlement there. Orange has expanded there again. Orange is now definitely improving with multiple ports. Interesting to see where they go next if they start buying. I guess they do have one dev card, and this is you.
I'm just considering where to build my road.
You're trying to decide what to do. Yeah.
I was also thinking about like, what if I play the knight and try to snag a wheat so I can do road settlement? But I think that's a little bit too impatient, and I can't afford to block the 6 or I can't like afford to unblock it, as that's just such a massive spot. Even as a road player, if I can buy knights to keep that blocked, I almost have to, because Orange is just in such a strong spot, especially if that spot is unblocked.
Right. And also they so obviously you're at risk of Orange just, it's the only place they can drop road settlement, and certainly Orange would prefer to, right? Orange doesn't, I don't think cares as much about increasing their income on a good expansion. They just want the cheap, quick points.
Of course, yeah.
So with the 6 ore block, if they hit on the 6 ore and they have that ore port, then you're going to be in danger. But as it stands right now, you should be okay.
And right here, say block Orange, and they do, which is good, since they have the city. There are.
Right. Well, I mean, you didn't have to see. There's an example of it's almost not even worth saying, right? I mean,
that's true.
I guess you never know. But I mean, come on. And interesting that Black dropped the settlement there. He wanted to get the sheep port online, so now a 10 gives him 3 ore basically, which is pretty sweet. So Black is also looking sneaky strong here, because a 10 and a 3, that's not the most common rolls, but it's not likely to be blocked either.
Yeah.
And it would help them drop a city. They have longest road potential. They have, all different kinds of resources and some ports. They're limited wheat. At least they have the ports for it.
Yeah, for sure. I thought Black is actually becoming very, very strong. But something I noticed with Black is that they don't have that. They're sort of lacking in terms of longest road potential, if that makes sense. Since they don't have any more roads to be able to build towards a settlement. So if I was to challenge them for longest road race, then they're just literally just wasting resources.
Yeah, but where can
that's true. Exactly too. That's actually very strong.
The only spot left is like the 9 sheep on the coast.
That's true. I also think that my position, I also do like it a lot, as I think I'm in a strong spot to be able to do the double play and like take longest road and largest army in this case right here.
Yeah, I think that's clearly your path to victory, is if you can get both road and army, because you do feel like you're kind of lagging behind on some of the production side of things.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since my spots get they're look like really juicy spots to block.
And this is one of the problems is that I think black is in a better position than you at the moment. But at the same time, the best spot to robber is your best spot, compared to black.
Yeah. Also, I just want to make a quick note. So black, I think, this has disconnected, and it is legal to trade with the AI in this spot. So yeah. And since I was tracking their cards, I'm going to be tracking the cards even like more furiously now, as the AI does give some pretty sweet trades. And they're also really bad at trading too.
And I imagine that if you've played on the site a fair bit, just like anybody who plays a phone app, you just get used to what the AI does. It's just this natural feel for you just knowing what they're going to do. And so I know in like Catan universe, when I'm playing, if they offer you a 1-for-1, they'll give you the 2-for-1, like every time.
Yeah, every time. It's. This is actually my first time playing against the Colonist AI. But so I wasn't sure how good or bad it was, but I was willing to totally explore.
Mm-hmm. That's tough for Orange. I don't know. I'm assuming they'll reconnect soon enough. Hopefully.
So yeah, and the AI they built a road towards my 5 brick.
Oh wow!
And this absolutely terrifies me. I am so scared.
It does.
And then you're playing it too.
But here's the thing though. It could be a blessing in disguise. Only because if I'm any of the other players, I am now strongly motivated to give you that settlement.
Yes, because you can't give Orange another spot, as that makes it become even more scarier. So yeah, I was so scared that once they did the Year of Plenty, I was so scared that they'd get it. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm in a horrible spot as Black just rolled a 6, and that means it's a free card. And if you're tracking their card, they have the settlement in hand right now, and so I'm freaking out, and I need this. I need a wheat super badly. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Did Orange use a Year of Plenty on that turn?
Orange the bot used the Year of Plenty, and the Year of Plenty for 2 cards.
That's so brutal. I mean, here you are in a tournament, and there's no way that using the Year of Plenty to build that road is good.
Yeah, especially since they built the road first, and then the Year of Plenty, and then they passed. So the AI definitely really messed up for Orange, which is quite unfortunate. Yeah. Would you take this trade right here?
They're offering a wheat for a sheep. You do get sheep on 9-10 and you desperately need it, but this is who's offering red.
Right here I made a mistake. I should have played the knight first, but I didn't. I think I forgot to play the knight. Yeah.
All right, well, obviously you're taking from Orange. You could even don't consider using the knight to go twice. I mean, so red offered you a wheat, right? And red only has 3 resources.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the play right here, if there's infinite time and there's table talk, I'd say, listen, red.
Tell red, say, trade me the wheat because otherwise I have to.
Yeah, I have to steal from you.
But here's the odd part, though. You don't know what you can give them. I guess you just give them.
Yeah, just say I'll get whatever, or I'll give you whatever I steal from Orange. But Orange has 4 ore in hand, so you don't have any ore.
Right.
Because of that, I'm highly motivated to steal from. So I'm highly motivated to steal from Orange to give you the ore. Mm-hmm. Actually,
and especially that's where you can say out loud. Like if Orange gets this settlement, Orange, clearly is just going to win this game.
Yeah.
But there you go. Looks like you were able to pull it off. So that's got to be.
So actually, in that spot right there, I didn't actually steal from Orange, which you might be surprised with. And the reason I didn't steal from Orange because I thought they'd be disconnected for the entire game, and I'm just not afraid of the AI at all. I just think that they're just really bad at the game.
Yeah. and did you have a sense, had you heard anything? Nobody, you don't know anything, right? All you know is, Mareki's disconnected.
Yes. So I wasn't sure if they were going to come back, but I was thinking that they weren't going to come back. And because of that, I was like, well, Orange, they're the AI, they suck. And because they suck, I'm going to go after Black.
I saw a 10 hit, by the way, which, it's going to happen now and then. And Black is... that's really big for Minerva.
Yeah, for sure.
And Orange gets a second city. Again, you're right. I mean, AI players rarely finish it off, but having throwing away that Year of Plenty was just, that's just brutal.
Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate for Orange.
And look at the city, 2 roads. It's looking great. I'll see how it goes. And even that's a wheat port there. So Yeah, orange still looking super strong. You have this strange way of pulling out wins, and maybe you can do it, but it seems like it's a challenge here.
Yeah, right here I try to I say like black is at 7 points since and like even though orange is an objectively better spot, I want black to be stolen from for two reasons. Reason one being that black is still my longest road competitor. Reason two is that orange is disconnected, and
right.
Yeah, and those are just two pretty big reasons that like I want them to be stolen from. Also, because they technically have 3 ore in hand since the 10 hit, since 2 ores, 1 sheep, and I just really wanted them to. Once black builds their upgrade, or once they upgrade to a city, that makes them so much stronger. So if I can do anything to prevent them from getting a city, I totally will. Which is why I was trying to get them to block orange compared to
the city for black. We talked about a little while ago that a 10 and a 3, and there's the 10.
I think with once they upgrade the city, they just become so strong. Yeah, right now I'm just trying to abuse I'm just tracking black or orange's cards, and I'm just trying to abuse them for ore.
yeah, for sure.
I'm just seeing if how long the AI is going to take the trade, and they do. So I get a brick for an ore.
And so at this point, your thought is, I don't care, I'll give orange anything, which is interesting because obviously orange 2 cities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, chance to drop another settlement, but.
Yeah, it is very scary. So I'm able to get like 2 trades. I'm able to get 2 trades for ore right here, which is helpful.
Yeah, cheap for ore is crazy good.
Yeah. I guess you're right that I'm playing with fire. I asked like, are you allowed to trade with the bot? But yeah, I am actually allowed to trade with the bot.
So even when you type that, you knew.
Well, no, like it was after I confirmed it. I didn't. I wasn't sure, and I have to like I went after and I was like asked like the tournament host after the game like, hey, I traded at the AI, is that legal? And they're like, yes, it is. So I didn't know. In the game, I wasn't sort of thinking my AI, UI has totally screwed up.
With the UI, yeah. There we go. So, I mean, those 2 trades right there are extremely significant because you had a bit of a long road to get your first city up, but that helps a lot. And once you get your city online, all of a sudden you get a lot stronger in this game. You do have you still had just the 1 soldier. Yeah.
So right here, black is saying that I'm not supposed to trade with the AI. That's actually wrong in can. So I was trying to trade it back, but I don't think orange's going to do that. But no, it is legal. Trading with the AI is actually legal here.
Okay.
So I felt like really guilty right here. I was like, oh shoot, like what did I do?
Right. And there are, other online, leagues where once somebody becomes a bot, it is against the rules to trade. So, he wasn't crazy for.
That's what I thought too. It makes sense because.
By the way, I'm sorry. I keep saying he. I actually don't even know if Minerva.
Yeah, orange is a girl actually. Or sorry, black is a girl.
Oh, my sincere apologies, Minerva.
That's okay.
That's what I get.
But yeah, I'm willing to play with fire in terms of getting orange trades, as I just think that their path to victory is pretty hard. Since I have two knights already, and I think that I can. I'm in a strong spot to get a 3rd knight since the 6 brick is an ore now, and I'm on 2 tiles of wheat, 2 tiles of sheep.
Right, and nobody else has a knight or a death card.
Yeah. And not only that, longest road has been theoretically it's 6 roads, which is sort of short, but I think it's in relatively safe hands for now.
See, I was kind of thinking that, and I don't know. Oh, it looks like Mareki reconnected, which is great.
Yeah. Now I'm regretting doing the trades. But, not regretting doing the trades, but
I think Mareki's the play there was to start just jamming down.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I think that building the city on the 4-9 and the 2 roads and the you're plenty. I mean, so that turn of events I think helped you a ton, and you are getting into one of those positions where you can sneak out army and just drop a handful of roads and win.
Yeah, I really want to talk about the concept of pacing real quick. And pacing, I guess, how one of my friends define it is how well you stay behind everyone else, but yet you still have a strong shot to accelerate ahead, if that makes sense at all. Because right now, if you just look at the board, I'm the only guy who doesn't have a city. It looks like I have a garbage set up with no ore.
You mean other than Minerva?
Yeah, other than Minerva. My port situation it's all right, but it looks like I have a pretty bad shot at winning this game. but I do have but I'm also set up to do the double play. But like objectively, like they both have like 7 points. I'm at 5 points, and
right, and you're not on ore. I mean,
yeah,
that's the you didn't mention it, but that's the obvious, big difference.
Yeah, for sure. And like I was during this game, I was trying not to get too ahead of everyone, but also trying to but because if I get too ahead, then it fails. Then I fail to be able to do the double play, since the being able to take both titles, it has to be in like one swift move in a single turn, and I have a very short critical window to do it right there.
Right, and this turn is obviously massive. So you've gotten yourself your city. It is your turn. You didn't set it out. Obviously, you're going to build the city. The question is, what are you going to follow up with, right? Are you just going to try and drop a settlement on like the 9 sheep just for the extra point? Are you going to, you might as well make use of that extra wooden brick.
Yeah.
You don't have any other port than the brick, so the wood, you can either hang on to it for 4-1, or you can just start jamming roads.
So yeah, what would you do here? Like, what spot would you upgrade?
Ooh, that's a good question. You do have a knight. Nobody else has a knight. Well, I guess Minerva brought, but Minerva's she's on the middle, so it depends on whether you want to go for the road. Probably the 5-6-2. I think you already have 2 wheat on a 5, and adding a third doesn't do much, and adding a second sheep doesn't do much. So I think the extra brick, and if you spike it too, then I think the upside of the 2 and the 6 is much higher than the 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also thought like the wood doesn't really hurt because I'm gonna need to eventually try to burst Longest Road and like jack it. So
I think it's interesting you hung on to the road. I mean, I guess there wasn't much. You do have a lot of income, so you're getting to this point like a 5 puts you over 7.
Oh yeah, right? That's a really good point. I didn't realize a single 5 puts me over 7 cards. So where would you put the road?
But it depends. Again, now that you've gotten that city, I mean, that was such a huge change for you that I'm starting to think you're going to win this thing because of what happened with Orange and that really questionable play. I mean, I guess Orange still really solid shape.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely are.
Points,
Since if they take Longest Road, it puts them in a 9.
Right. So I don't know that you can really fight for Longest Road unless you just suddenly snag it, right? I honestly think you're better off now focusing on dev cards and helping Black keep Longest Road.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. But and then boom, look at that, Black drops the city.
This is where I got really, really afraid of Black. So I guess my thought process for not building that road right there was because I'm at 6 points, and I need to do the double play. It puts me at exact 10. And the thing is, if a 6 hits, then it gives me 3 bricks, and the 3 bricks sets me up for a dev card, and a dev card is most likely going to be a knight, which then leads to me getting largest army right there. If that makes sense at all. Mm-hmm. Since I don't really care to getting the 11 points with Longest Road largest army. I just want to try to win, which is why I decided to hold. But you also have a strong valid point that if a 5 hits, it puts me over 7 cards. So I was playing with fire for sure. But I just thought that the possibility for me to buy the dev card and lock myself at 8 points, because that is also my big goal right here. I'm also just trying to get to 8 points so I can get into the semifinals, which I'm not even sure if 8 points is enough.
And finally for Black, the 3 hits, so all of a sudden she's flush with wheat.
Yeah.
And like I said right there, you're saying Black, you need to extend roads. So,
yeah.
Another interesting thing is, I know it's your turn. We kind of skipped over Red. I don't know if helping Red to plow Orange definitely has value as well.
Oh, it has tremendous value. Red, if this is a tabletop game, I'd totally be all over that.
Yeah, it seems. I'm having trouble seeing how Red comes back in this one, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what would you block right here, and why?
Well, I mean, Orange is like on the cusp, right? I still think it's 6 ore. I'm not sure what else you would really consider. I know Black just hit triple wheat, so you might want to consider taking from Black. Mm-hmm. But the 6 Orange has an ore port, so not only is it. And also, your path to victory lies in army clearly at this point,
yeah.
Right? And so you want to slow down their dev card production.
Yeah. So I'm in a sort of like bad spot since I'm trying to get a dev card as soon as possible right here. Of course, Black says I think you're making a mistake. No, I don't think that's a mistake since, like you said, Orange has the wheats now, and they're just so much scarier once they got their city. And of course,
What mistake is it that Black thought you made?
stealing from Black.
Right, because Black had tripped wheat in your hand. That's why.
Also, I was also trying to say like, a Black, you need to extend your roads, otherwise, Orange is going to win and get to 9 points. Of course, I'm going to say that because it's like the roads for them absolutely suck. It literally does nothing. And at this point, they have 6 wheats in hand. And like if they throw that wheat away for like roads, I am ecstatic, since that is not the way to win. That is like an absolutely losing play, especially since we're on the 10. Yep. You're on the 10 ore, and that can close the game super quickly right there.
I had a very interesting turn in my U.S. Championship game that I won, where somebody had a hand filled with ore and sheep, and we were talking a lot about trades. So the player to my left, she had played a really good early game and was on the cusp of road and army and win, and it was just like in a blink of an eye. So we knew we needed to steal road. But I also was in really strong position where if I had taken road, I had the potential to just take road. There was almost no way I would hold it, but if I was able to take road and drop something, I think I was in position to win at that point. So it wasn't super early in the game, I'm sorry, obviously. But the person whose turn it was ended up just making a bunch of piles on the table of ore and sheep becoming roads, and built like 6 roads around the edge of the map. And that was really my key to victory, because he got longest road, she got slowed down, and then I was able to spend my resources, optimally to get the victory.
This is why, like, also, like, it sucks going longest road in tournaments, and especially like when there's table talk and like there's infinite time, because you can because that collusion happens, and just really annoying, especially in live tournaments when you're playing with like strong players too, and like you're playing with strong tournaments, and you always know the risk that like, well, my longest road is going to be like totally it can totally be jacked, especially if you're like relying on that spot right there.
Yes, I've gone to extreme lengths to help somebody else steal road.
So I just want to quickly talk about this turn real quick. So I'm trying to table talk Orange to block on the 10 ore, because Orange just ported 3 of their wheats, and the 10 ore still gives them a city. And if they upgrade, they're probably going to upgrade the 634, which is dangerous, and that's like more roads for me to fight. But not only that, Black ported 3 wheats for a road, and I was like absolutely ecstatic for that. And I don't think that was a right play, actually, because that 3 wheat is just, it's so valuable, and you need it right there just to win. You like any cities, you're on this
right. But Black, they're in this tough spot where if Orange drops 2 roads in a settlement, Orange wins.
That's true.
Flat out. If she doesn't do that, so it's a crappy position to be in. For sure. Like
I totally get Black's sentiment, but I think that also Black could also feed me longest red, and I think that this is where, in my opinion, like tracking people's cards is super crucial, because if you know Orange can potentially take longest red, you have early positioning on Orange, so if you know that they're gonna like win, then you can say like, listen, Orange is gonna win the next turn, you have to trade me to extend red right here, because they're gonna win. And if you just track their cards, like, no, listen, they just have this, they're gonna win. So if you don't do this trade, we automatically lose the game. So that automatically forces all the other players to trade with Black. And that's like more of like a live tournament where there's infinite time and table talk.
Well, do you remember, I think it was a few months back, you, me, and 2 other guys were playing with voice chat, and I just dominated the early game. I was just running away with the win, and you would not let off on how the other guys had to give you road, otherwise I was going to win, and they fed you road, and you got to 9 points before I finally got my 10th. But
it was I totally climbed back from like the depths because I was fed road, and I had to. Like it was an absolute necessity.
All right, we should focus more on the game, I guess, because we're getting pretty close to the end. I have to imagine. I mean, I guess it could go on for a while, but
for sure.
So now you play tonight, and like who's doing better? I think it's still 6 ore. I don't know. I know for Black, because Black doesn't have dev cards, and I know we hit a couple threes. Maybe that's your fault.
No, I think this is a mistake right here.
Black has a handful of wheat.
Well, I blocked it. That was my thought process, that Black has a handful of wheat, but no, I think that was a mistake. I should have blocked the 6 ore in that spot. It's just mutually beneficial to both players, and Orange can still easily steal it. Right now, I'm just counting the amount of wheats I have right now. So what would you do in this spot? And
I mean, you want dev cards. I guess let's see, you're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, and you have just 2 knights. I think you want dev cards because there's so many strong dev cards, and you could build the road settlement, but then if you, I don't know, I think you want robber control. You don't have any knights in reserve, so I would definitely prefer a dev card to road settlement on the 9 sheep. And yes, you should try and shade for ore, but I don't know if anybody's going to do it, right? It's just kind of an awkward spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess I would 4-1 for an ore and buy a dev card, and it looks like that's the way.
Yeah, I did that because also I remember I need my 8th point right now for just to win, and also in my opinion, actually getting victory points is actually pretty bad right here because my win condition is trying to get the double play. If that makes sense at all.
I mean, it's unlikely that red is going to cut you off to the 9 sheep. I mean, I guess if red's desperate for a point, red's focus, I imagine, would be to go on the 11 brick if they could just drop a red settlement right now. So I think that's going to be there. But the income of that random 9 sheep is fairly meaningless since you mostly have to 4-1 them
for
anyway. Sure. I love the chat. It's just endless. Well, if this guy gets road, he's in the league. Well, if this guy gets road, he's. I mean, it's okay, that's true. The only thing nobody's saying is that Melisandre's about to win, but I do see Melisandre bought a couple dev cards.
I'm just not that afraid of orange right here, but I think right now I'm in a fantastic spot to try and sneak the game since you have to not only track. Now I have to track what trades there are too, since. I can trade my way to longest road right now since I'm in a very inconspicuous spot right here. So the 6 goes off, which I'm regretting not blocking the 6, which I thought was the right play.
Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely the right play since I'm playing with fire with orange at 9 cards.
Well, orange is really in the tough spot, right? Because so what do they try to do? Does orange try to go for road settlement and then just a bunch of roads for the win? That's a pretty legitimate option. Like buying a dev card here is they have no chance of army, so obviously they're crossing their fingers for like a VP or a mono. But then again, red could plow them in the corner, so I definitely at this point, given I've committed that road, it's interesting they built a city out on the, I guess you're just sitting there on city resources, why not? Right?
Since
so now they're at 8, so
now longest road actually wins the game too, so it's even more scary.
Yeah, like a 4 and a 9 just wins, and there's the 4.
Yeah, I think it's so you have to be really in my opinion, you have to really keep track of how many road materials there are. Since I have the win if a 5 rolls, but I also have the win if I can get trades for wood, and remember I can also trade for bricks too, so to port for the wood since. All I need right now is I think I need 4 roads right here just to win. So if 5 would win me the game, I think a 6 would also win me the game. No, I'd be 1 card short from a 6. Yeah, I'd be 1.
Well, let's see. How many roads do you need to take road?
So
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I need roads? 4 roads since right now it's at 8. So not only does
because you're at 8 points.
Yeah. Since I play the knight, so I'm just hoping and praying for a 5 right here.
And boom, 5.
No.
No.
But something just as good. Something just as good happens, and that's it's keeping track of the road resources. Since I know that there's I know that right now red has brick and they have 1 brick and they have 3 woods in hand, and that they're willing to trade 2 of their woods at least. So I offer this for 2 woods right here. Since it gives them the settlement on the 11 brick, and they're most likely going to take this trade.
Oh man, really? Even though it hands you the win, I guess, again, red's been... I mean, they have to see that gives you the win, right?
Oh, if this is a live game, then maybe the other 2 players would probably yell at them. So I'm getting more desperate right now. Right. I'm like, please give me these 2 woods. I'll give you 4 cards. And it's even more suspicious since I'm just upping the trade offer more and more and more. And black says, blue, you're basically at 8 points, which they're totally right. I am at 8 points. And then red says, yes, I'm so excited. I take this trade.
That's crazy. So you pulled it out. And I think that sequence where orange disconnected was really a major factor because it took them out of the fight for cards and
it really allowed me to not have no pressure for buying night cards right there, and that gave me just a lot of time. We definitely made a few mistakes inside this game, but luckily I still won.
Yep. You have that sneaky way.
Yeah.
Well played. You did what you had to do.
Thank you. And that puts me at the top 16 scores for sure, since, with 3-0, there's not that many other people who go 3-0. I think I was ranked 4th out of the 300 for the top 16. It was 4th or 5th.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
Right, they do like percentage of the points you got at each
game. Yeah. So I was in the top 16, and I'm going to the semifinals, and that'll be next video.
see, Black got one of those things you want to try to avoid is when you get the road, and you're in the situation where it's like, well, I could build more roads to protect it, but if I do, other people won't bother and they'll put their resources elsewhere, and then I wasted those roads. But if I don't spend the resources on the roads, then they'll just snag it from me, and it's always, an awkward spot.
I also think that there's also merit to saying that, like, if you extend your roads so much at the very beginning, it almost intimidates other players to not go for longest roads. So it's almost like a future it's like a future investment to look, if you want to put it that way.
Right. No, I just mean like once we got to that like mid to late game there, because Black couldn't actually drop a settlement with the road, that's where it was really awkward, because Black needed to be building more roads, but they were wasted. They couldn't build any more settlements.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any other closing thoughts about this game?
Obviously, Settlers is better in person. Everybody knows that, but this enables, especially with the way things are right now, to be able to play. I think in tournaments they should do. I don't know if it has to be unlimited turns, especially because somebody can disconnect. But I'd rather see longer turns. I think things worked out well for you. You managed to give yourself room to expand, like you said. Everything kind of played out like the way you wanted it to, and even with the limited ore and no ports, the fact that nobody else bought dev cards, I think, was really one of the biggest advantages. I mean, Red got in on it, but a little too late for it to matter.
Yeah, for sure. The fact that I was so behind everyone, or like that my pacing made it seem like I was just not robbable, since I really didn't get robbed that many times this game. I only got robbed a few times. And I think that was due to my pacing right there, because I looked like I was in such a bad position that like I had no chance to win the game.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing we talked about you not going on the 6-10 right away. I mean, we both agreed that was not the right play. You called it the trap play, and you were right, because you would have been robbered the whole game, just back and forth, 6 or 5 wheat, 6 or 5 wheat.
Yeah, for sure. So there's I guess you can call it a longest road game with no ore. It's, I think all my viewers get the impression that like ore reach sheep is the only way to win. Wow, that's objectively not true at all.
And also, if we're remembering back to the beginning, that Melisandre's first settlement placement, I think that actually helped you. I thought it was a little bit questionable at the time, and we saw that it didn't end up really working out, where it was just 8 wood, which was pretty common, and 4 wheat, which was kind of uncommon, but wasn't that good a number, and there really wasn't anything that paired with it, so it left you with some good options, and Minerva, she had some good options as well.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that I just think being able to play in the positioning right behind opponents that make mistakes during placements allow you to capitalize off people's mistakes. So Chris Broderick, you know who Chris Broderick, also another U.S. national champion. He likes he specifically says he likes the third position the most, but I think that the third position, it's strong because you can capitalize mistakes off the first 2 other players, and you can control it. I think, but if you go to the finals, in my opinion, like if you go to the finals with with 3 other very, very strong players who don't make mistakes, I think the third position becomes a lot weaker.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we should commentate on another game, and we could talk more about.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. No, thank you. This was really a lot of fun, and we should do it again sometime.
Thank you so much. If you want to see Ian again, please let me know just by dropping a comment or by liking the video. I make my videos based off your feedback. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Dylighted, and I hope you learned something.